Today, we are looking at something called Goodhart's Law and how it applies to dog culture. Goodhart's Law states that when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. So, what are some of the targets of dog ownership, and how do we measure those targets? Do we measure those targets by actual results, or do we measure them by look at how many dogs you own, you've met the target? Let's read a little more about Goodhart's Law. So, when a measure becomes a target, it leads to unintended consequences. And many people manipulate the measure to meet the target rather than to achieve the goal. This is from a financial concept from Goodhart, but this completely applies to dog culture. I mean, dog culture is a financial discussion too, because billions of financial decisions are controlled by the fact that we own all these dogs. And dog culture is like the worst case scenario of Goodhart's Law. So, the goal of dog culture, just answer the question for me. What do you think the goals of dog culture are? It's like, well, I'm a good person, I own dogs. I have so much empathy, I own dogs. I'm so happy because I own dogs. I have no stress because I have all these dogs. End animal suffering, give money to organizations. All of those things about dog culture, they're getting worse and worse and worse. Every single thing about dog ownership that is supposed to bring some type of health and happiness to our life, it gets worse and worse. Dog hoarding gets worse, dog cruelty gets worse, yet every year we have more and more and more charity organizations pushing the ownership of dogs, taking our money because they're going to end animal cruelty, but they never do it. And so the measure, or the metric, calling it the metric is more accurate. So, for example, this is the metric right here, this ruler. So the dog is the ruler. The dog is the metric for success. How many dogs do you own? Oh, wow, you ended animal suffering. You own 6 dogs in your small apartment. Yeah, but when the measure becomes the target instead of the actual goals, that measure is going to be a fail. And Goodhart's Law proves this. And dog culture is like the absolute worst case scenario of this. All of the people out there that run the big dog companies, they know this. They know that this is a failing thing. But we continue to do this. Let's look at some elements that can be present with Goodhart's Law. This one right here, incentive misalignment. So rewards that are directly linked to performance on specific metrics means that people are motivated to work on those metrics to the point of avoiding other key areas. You know, why do you need to be nice to your fellow humans? You got a dog. Dog owner. Hey, can you please make your dog be quiet? No, I'm a good person. I already got a dog. I don't need to be nice to people. I got a dog. I own 4 dogs. I'm a good person. I ended animal suffering. Oh, I'm an animal lover because I own 6 corgis, and I'm gonna adopt a pit bull maybe next week. If I might just not do my truck payment and go get me another dog. All of this work that we put into trying to live up to what dog culture claims it is, all we're doing is getting more dogs as the packaging, as like the badge. But it's all in all, it's incentive misalignment. So gaming the system, people will find ways to play the system rather than improving performance. Yeah, you can easily just go get more dogs. You can easily just go get more dogs. The 501c3 organizations that bring dogs across state lines, they say that they're all about charity and ending suffering, but they're gaming the system. They're bringing more dogs into your world that suffer so that they can use that to get you to purchase more dogs You look better, they look better. However, there is never this part right here. Read this part right here. There is never an improving performance. We never improve the performance that is supposed to come along with this dog love and dog worship. How about loss of intrinsic motivation? As attention moves away from attaining real results towards numerical targets, intrinsic motivation can lose ground. Eventually, people don't really even care about animal suffering. They don't care about each other. They become addicted to the presence of several dogs in their life because that gets them all of their attention. It gets them their dopamine. It gets them their little reward. The reward of owning a dog, maybe it started with because they thought they were going to end animal suffering, or they thought it was better than a kid. Oh, it's cheaper. I trust dogs more. All of those little stupid slogans from dog culture, all of that stuff that they think is their goal, eventually all they care about is the dog. They're not actually motivated to end dog suffering. They're not motivated to end animal suffering. They'll allow their dogs to attack wildlife, bark all day. You know, many cattle are butchered so that dogs can eat food, but they're going to sit there and call themselves animal lovers. So, yeah, they lose that intrinsic motivation of the supposed goal of dog ownership. This beautiful dog owner person, I'm so connected to nature and I love everybody. No, you don't. You just love sitting around stroking on your dog. Narrow focus. Focusing on particular numbers can result in narrow focus, missing other pertinent areas of performance. It's kind of like the other concepts. The narrow focus is just get a dog. You want to end animal cruelty. You want to look like a good person. You want to cover the fact that you're a pedophile. Yes, people do that with their dogs. Well, they just go get a dog and then they look like a good person. It's a narrow focus. You're using the dog, the presence of the dog, as your little badge, forgetting about the fact that you're probably, in many ways, a complete jackass to many of your fellow humans. What about the unintended consequences? Exclusively focusing on numbers can result in unintended consequences. Well, again, that's like the hoarding, the animal suffering, the overflowing shelters, the dog overpopulation, dogs that are left in homes, hoarded, foster dogs that people can't afford, so they just leave them in the basement and let them die. All of these things that we do in dog culture ends up in animal suffering. Yeah. So have a read the rest of this article. All of these downfalls, like the bent performance measurement, the declining productivity, that all applies to this dog culture. We're spending so much money and time trying to reach these supposed goals, trying to get these supposed goals that owning a dog gives us. Yet everything is worse. Our heart disease is worse. Our human connection is worse. Depression is worse. Poverty is worse. Yet we just keep getting more and more dogs, trying to have this metric of dog ownership equals that good, happy, healthy life, when it absolutely does not. So now if you want a fun video about this concept, check out this after school video.
Now let's look at a different example that shows us what happens when an incentive is not clearly defined. In the Soviet Union in the early 20th century, nails were in high demand, but the Soviet Union did not have a market economy. All production was centrally planned. In order to increase production, the government tried to incentivize nail factory workers. First, the government offered to reward workers by quantity. The more nails they produced, the more they earned. This led workers to use their limited steel resources to make as many small nails as possible.
That reminds me of people with multiple small dogs. I'm not going to get a big dog. I'm smart. I'm going to get a little chihuahua and a corgi. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's all about quantity over quality. And so these workers, they kind of tricked the government here in the Soviet Union. And there's other examples from communism here. But their incentives were not clearly defined, like the quality of the nails, the quality of the work conditions. They were trying to top down control the workers. More nails equals more money. And so just work your ass harder. And that's what we're doing with dog culture. It's like more dogs equals that you're a better person, so just get more dogs, despite the fact that you're working your ass off to feed all these dogs. You're paying extra taxes for all these shelter organizations to feed these dogs. And there's several examples from communism and other things that illustrate this. And capitalism is part of this too, but this is a very good example. So have a look at this video. There's so many good examples in this video that directly correlate to this concept.
Instead of rewarding males by the amount of weight, reward by the number of males that pass a stress test or meet a clearly defined standard. This would ensure that the males actually serve their purpose. Free market.
So it's the same thing with dogs. We don't have a clearly defined, measurable way to say, hey, this is actually working. Spending all this money, filling your house with dogs is doing you some kind of good. They actually never stop and measure that. So, like I said, this is like the worst case scenario of this effect. We're continuing to put all this money into producing dogs, producing our own money so we can support dogs, but there is never a clearly defined outcome. There's never a check and balance with dog ownership. We just keep forcing each other to have more dogs.
Or meet a clearly defined standard. This would ensure that the males actually serve their purpose.
Does dog ownership actually serve the advertised purpose? No. It just serves us to keep going on and on, bending over backwards to worship dogs.
Free market economies do this naturally. Customers don't buy nails based on weight. They buy nails that actually work. Unfortunately,
And dogs do not actually work.
input-based incentive structures are everywhere in our society. The pharmaceutical companies make money when they medicate sick people, so sickness has become lucrative. A patient cured is a customer lost. This is not.
Yeah. A person that solves their own problems and connects with humans and uses technology and knowledge and their human intelligence to get better, get out of depression, find friends, they're not going to be needing this dog, this constant dog. Look at this drawing right here, guys. This is like many dog owners. Sick, tired, full of rashes, allergies, overworked, and that's a good dog owner. And look, they even drew a dog right there. Yeah. It's just keeping you locked in, keeping our country locked in, billions of financial decisions every day, all for the dog, all for this whole thing to look like a good dog owner, to try to get all these benefits that come with dogs, but we never get it. The metric that we're using is the presence of the dog. But that's the actually inverted metric. The presence of the dog is more people like this. More people suffering from dog attacks, more dogs suffering from hoarding, and all of that type of stuff. Yep. So that's been a quick look at Goodhart's Law. I'll put some other links in the description, and hopefully we can talk about this more. I hope you guys like this type of deep dive look at dog culture. Dog culture is set up to fail. It's set up to make us fail. And everybody out there that is in the high paid financial positions and levers of power in our society, they know that this is happening, but they're happy to keep doing it as long as we're happy to keep pushing humans out of our lives and replacing those with dogs. Let me give you 3 little links here. So dog hoarding is a growing issue. Okay. So it's like Goodhart's Law. It's getting worse. We're not fixing everything. Look at this, the number of animal rescue charities varies each year, but we're having more and more of them. There is an increase in such organizations. You can go on the IRS website and look all this up. Type in Corgi, our pit bull, our boxer dog, and you will find all of these taxpayer funded, indirectly funded animal shelters. Meanwhile, our humans starve. Meanwhile, the dogs suffer. Meanwhile, dogs attack wildlife. While we sit back and say that we're good people, we're animal lovers. No, we're not. We're using the wrong metric. Yeah. And another link, the last one before I end this video, we're facing a dog overpopulation issue. So again, this is Goodhart's Law. The metric of fixing animal suffering by owning a bunch of dogs, the metric of all of the things that dogs do for us. Like go on Google and type in 20 reasons dogs are so great for us, and you'll get, hundreds and hundreds of articles saying that dog ownership is going to do this and do that. But it doesn't do any of that. The metrics are never met, and the only metric that we're using is dog ownership. Yep. See you guys later.